My co-host for this evening is Kiana Alzate. She is the Assistant Director of Development for the graduates of the last decade. My name is Tyler. I work in the alumni office as the Assistant Director of Student Engagement and Philanthropy. I'm going to speak to you a little bit about your alumni resources, but I want to start today with talking a little bit about who our alumni, who are they? So as you can see, we have quite a few famous alumni, right? We have our change makers, we have our creators, we have our explorers, and these are just the well-known faces. But at this point in time, we've graduated over 215,000 alumni, and our Triton community is full of change makers, creators, and explorers, and you're joining that community. And whatever it is that you do, I know that you're going to bring your Triton spirit into wherever you go. And so we're really looking forward to staying in touch and hearing from you all as you progress throughout your journeys. And it's a really exciting experience. Okay, so as I had mentioned, 215,000 graduates from UC San Diego. 41% of them are graduates of the last decade, and 25% of them stay in San Diego. So I mean, that's pretty impressive when you stop to think about it, right? 41% of the folks that we've graduated in the last 10 years, those are amazing numbers. Our university is young, and you are the influencers. You're going to be the change makers when it comes to all of us participating and seeing the university that we want. So I want to share with you a little bit about what the Alumni Office does for our students and for our alumni so that you can familiarize yourself with the resources that we have. Because we have a lot. And I think that when I talk to students, they don't always realize a lot of the resources we have. And that's even doubly true for alumni, because we're always adding new things. And it's really important that you stay in touch with us so that you can find out what those new things are. But some of the things that we do, we offer alumni engagement opportunities. So that's mentorship for students and new alumni, invitations to special events. So we have a couple of alumni on the call this evening, more than a couple actually. And, they received a special invitation to this event to participate. So that's one benefit of staying in touch with us. We provide resources for students and alumni. So that's career resources, our regional clubs and affinity groups, our Tritons Connect platform. We also have volunteers, speakers and experts that come back and talk to us about things. You may have received some invitations earlier in the pandemic to hear from some of our leading experts in their fields about different aspects of how this is affecting our daily lives. We also have our alumni email for life, which I will touch on briefly. And then we have our Triton Magazine, which is amazing. You really get to experience a lot of UC San Diego's history by staying engaged with Triton Mag, whether that's digital or hard copy. They do a lot of work to bring to life the work of some of our alumni. And then we also have our signature events and programs. Maybe you've attended some of these. Our homecoming, that's in October, our Triton 5K, Alumni 101. I really hope that many of you on the call have participated and take a Triton to work. Our Triton Leaders Conference and Alumni Celebration Weekend. And that's just a smattering of the things that we do. Every single employee in the alumni office is also a connection for you. So if you have any questions about how to connect with an alumni or what to do next, we're always happy to be a resource. And when I talk about resources and connecting with alumni, we have our global network of Tritons. So we have Tritons across the globe. As you can see, the arrows, that's really where we have very strong affinity groups and regional clubs or regional groups of Tritons. So if you're planning on staying in San Diego, whether or not you're moving home or moving to a new place, chances are we have a Triton wherever you're going that we can connect you with. And here's a list of some of our domestic and international clubs. So as you can see, we have clubs in almost, every major city that you can think of. And then we also have our affinity groups. So you'll hear from one of our affinity group members tonight. She's on the Asian Pacific Islander Alumni Council. I also happen to be a member of the Black Alumni Council. And for me, that's a very enriching experience as an alumni because I get to fundraise for students. I get to talk to some other alumni about some of the challenges that they've faced and being alumni and what their student experience was like. And I get to imagine what a better student experience will be for all of our current students now and future students as well. So that's, a really amazing way to stay engaged as an alumni. We also have our advocacy network, our sustainability network, our Chicanx, Latinx Alumni Council, Filipino AX Alumni Council, and our UC San Diego staff and faculty alumni, which is a really large group of alumni on this campus. So if you do decide to stay with us in the capacity as an employee, you're joining a huge group of employees that are a really great support network. Okay, and here to share with you a little bit about our Graduates of the Last Decade constituency and affinity group is Kiana Alzate, who, as I mentioned, is our Assistant Director of Development for Gold. Kiana?
Thank you, Tyler. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Just like Tyler said, we have a lot of different ways to stay connected as an alum, and there's so many different groups and councils, and the main group that I manage is the Gold Steering Committee, and it's about 16 people strong now, all different alumni from 0 to 10 years out who have just graduated or have moved into graduate school. They're employed, they're doing lots of different projects and exciting things, and they're all here to connect with you. So anyone that's graduated, like the second you walk out the door at UC San Diego, you are now a Gold alum. And that means that you can join us on the Gold Steering Committee. You can join us with all these other different alumni councils and affinity groups to stay connected with one another. And then also to create different ways for alumni to further support students, to support one another, and to create some really fun and engaging activities. A lot of the things that Gold is doing this summer, which we're really excited about, is the Triton Table Talks, which is another way for you to connect with other Gold alumni. Maybe you're just graduated or you're considering other opportunities like graduate school, research opportunities. Maybe you're trying to hone in on some informational interviewing skills to connect and build your network of UC San Diego Triton alumni. So we're just excited to have you all on board very, very soon. And we just can't wait to connect with you. So find the Gold Steering Committee on the UC San Diego Alumni website. And there's a bunch of people on that list that will happily connect with you. Tritons Connects is the best way to reach out to them. And that's another way for you to just at least get those gears moving about where you want to go next, or if you have some questions about industry, or if you just want to connect with someone over a virtual coffee chat for right now, that's the best way to do it. And we're just excited to get to know you and see what you're all about when you come out the graduation gates.
Yeah, thank you, Kiana. So I've had the pleasure of getting to plan some things with the Gold Steering Committee as well. And it's a really exciting group, and they're doing a lot of really great things targeted toward just all of the people on the call. So again, make sure you're staying engaged and staying connected so that you can participate in so many of these amazing programs that Kiana is planning specifically for you. Okay. So I'm going to move into career resources. And the first career resource that I want to talk to you about as a graduating student looking at becoming an alumni is our Tritons Connect platform. Because this will be a really important platform for you in connecting with alumni who are in your field, connecting with mentors, whether or not you're looking for somebody specific to maybe help you with something outside of your field. There's also groups on the platform as well, so you can stay engaged in ways that aren't necessarily career-oriented only, but maybe a little bit social. We also post all of our major events on this platform, and we also have our news feed. And so one of the things that I like to pitch to all of you when it comes to Tritons Connect is to think about it like this. I know that the university sends probably maybe 10 emails, a week to you at minimum, right? You have alumni talking to you, you have Central Campus, you have your college. This platform is a really great way to have all of that information that's being sent to you and those emails condensed into a single place. So if you want to engage with the university in a particular way, all you have to do is jump on Tritons Connect, and that will give you the platform that you need in order to get the information that you want the way that you want it. Okay, so the other resource I'm going to talk to you about is the Career Center, because right now you're still a current student and you have access to the Career Center, but you also will have access to the Career Center for your first year out. And essentially what that means is that your handshake login, you get to maintain that. But there's so much more that you can do. And I want to make sure that you're all taking the opportunity to do this while you are still here. Use Handshake to schedule an appointment with Career Services Center. And when you do that, you'll be able to review your resume if you're still thinking about your job search. You can find career-oriented events. So, I know that we have career fairs that get posted on there, and a lot of those have been virtual. And sometimes the timing is very specific. But employers also have special events, like our large employers, that kind of review what they're looking for in a candidate. And it's a really great opportunity to just engage with employers, even if it's not a field that you're really particularly interested in, you still get really great advice. You also have those job postings. Meet with a career or grad school coach. So if that's something that you're considering, I would definitely schedule an appointment because those applications will be due at the end of the year. And there's a lot of work between now and then that you need to do. Attend career fairs during your first year out as well. So if you're still job searching, you have access to these career fairs that are posted in Handshake. And share your post-graduation plans with us. One of the really great things about being an employee here and being an alumni is that I get to talk to all of you about the amazing things that you're doing. And you could be, somebody that would say, hey, you're working at, let's say Google, would you be willing to talk to a group of students about what your experience at Google has been like and what they should expect during the application process? And, having that information really helps us provide the best resource possible to any of our students that are, coming up behind you. So it's really just an opportunity to give back. Okay, so I'm going to go through a little bit of what the Tritons Connect platform looks like very quickly. So this is the main page for jobs. Sorry, not jobs. This is the main page. As you can see, there's the feed on the left-hand side. We have our directory, mentoring jobs, photos, groups, and events. This is my page from a while back. But you can also see 194 jobs have recently been posted as of this time. If you're looking for a mentor, this is a really great place to find one. I work in education, so as you can see, I've got people who work in education that have been matched with me, but you can also see that there's an opportunity to look for mentors within a particular field. We also have our job board. So if you're searching for a job, this is a really great place to look for a job. And the reason that I say that is because we have, this is specific to UC San Diego. These are employers who know that UC San Diego graduates quality candidates, and they want to hire UC San Diego grads. So definitely make sure that you're keeping up with the job board on Tritons Connect, because that already gives you a leg up. And Affinity Groups. I am a 6th college grad. Shout out to all the 6th college grads on the call. But this is a really great way to stay connected with your college as well, which I know for many of us, especially if you've entered as a freshman, is a huge affinity. But even if you've entered as a transfer Triton, there's something special about staying connected with your college and having that connection with other Tritons. Okay, so I'm going to move into our signature events and programs. This is the really fun stuff. This isn't necessarily career oriented, but it's a way for you. Well, we do have some career oriented signature events and programs, but it's a way for you to engage in a little bit more of a fun and social way. I think that as students, you all spend so much time studying and working so hard that you really get to have fun as an alumni. And here's how you do it. So every quarter, we have a signature event. This past quarter, it was our alumni celebration weekend. In our fall quarter, we'll have our homecoming and our Triton 5K. So make sure that you're on the lookout for those things as well. And we have a ton of events that we program as part of these weekends. And the Triton 5K in particular, I think is probably one of the more popular events because people really get into it. And you can participate in, so many different ways, whether or not that's, this year, I think we saw somebody do the 5K on a pogo stick. So there's so many ways to do a 5K. And then we have our Triton Leaders Conference in winter quarter as well. And one of the really great things about the Triton Leaders Conference is that this is a conference that's free for you during your first year out, right? So if you're looking for professional development advice, this is a really great place to go. And I can tell you as a working professional that I've been to several conferences that cost hundreds of dollars to attend. This is free. You're getting all of that information is free. And it's a place where you'll get real practical advice for how to springboard your career. So some of these signature programs that we have, Take a Triton to Work. This typically happens during winter and spring break. Like I said, you may have participated as students. Hopefully you'll come back and participate as alumni in the future. Our Take a Triton to Class, that typically happens in conjunction with our signature programs. And if you're really missing class, if there's a particular professor that you just feel very close to, you can always come back and attend their class if they're participating in Take a Triton class. We have our Alumni 101, which is ongoing, and our Triton Table Talks, which happen Tuesdays quarterly. This year, we have this summer, we have a very special Triton Table Talk, and I want to invite Kiana to speak a little bit about that for Gold.
Yes, I kind of mentioned it before to give a little teaser, but yes, we're so excited about these. The Gold Steering Committee, one of whom is on the call. I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. We put together a list of topics that are still like relevant to all alumni, but the best part about these is that they're going to be hosted and monitored mediated by Gold alumni, mediated. And the topics include things like welcome to the Triton alumni community, and you'll meet some of the Gold Steering Committee members. They'll start July 13th, and then they'll go through September 21st. Things like, different types of benefits and types of volunteering opportunities, not just with the university, but maybe within your community or region, which is great. So say you don't stay in San Diego, there's ways to connect that way. Anything about like decrypting employee benefits and compensation when you're first applying to a job and negotiating offers. And like the topic, my degree doesn't match my job interests, now what? So sometimes there's not always a linear path to things, but the best way to learn about how different pathways can be carved out during your career, whether that's the first year out, the second or third year out, is to hear from other alumni talk about different ways they might have like navigated or switched gears or maybe pivoted a little bit. And that's just a really great opportunity. There's another one that's about company culture and what that really means like in the interview process. You can ask certain questions to kind of help get that definition for yourself, and talk to different alumni that have worked for big companies, maybe like really traditional companies like Qualcomm, or someone that went from Qualcomm to Google and why they left, and what that means to them. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of dig a little deeper into these topics. And we're just so excited to have all of these Gold alumni on board to share their story and their narrative, and hopefully advise you all as you're coming out into the world after school, or as you're kind of carving out next steps in your journey. So I can't wait to see all of you. Look out for an email about those coming soon. I can't say when, but we'll definitely have those on board pretty soon for you to sign up for. And take a listen, because there's a lot of great stories out there.
Thanks, Kiana. Okay. All right. So, and then lastly, I want to touch on some senior year activities. So your senior year bucket list, and this is where I get a little bit excited to talk about things, because I used to be one of the few people that got to run commencement. And so file your DDA. The registration for commencement for this year has already passed. So I hope that you registered if you plan on attending, because filing your DDA and registering for commencement are two different things. So your DDA, that gets you graduated. That's your official diploma application. And the commencement is when you walk, right? So those are two different things. And just make sure you do both of those. If you haven't registered, well, you can email your college to see if they can make accommodations, I guess, but don't tell them I told you that. So you've already attended Alumni Orientation. So that's a bonus. Visit career services for all the reasons I talked about. Volunteer. You might not volunteer as a senior. You only have 2 weeks left, which is totally understandable. But consider coming back and volunteering as an alumni. Participate in senior class giving. So giving is very personal for everybody. If you have the means and opportunity to give, then by all means, but if not, that's totally okay. Cheer on your team. It's been a tough year, I think, for our athletes, because this was supposed to be a big year for us. We went D1, and so many of our sporting events, we weren't able to accommodate guests. So please make sure that you're cheering on your team in spirit, and also in the future. Sign up for Tritons Connect if you haven't already. Again, that's tritonsconnect.com, and follow us on social media at UCSD Alumni. That's also a really great way to stay engaged with everything that we're doing, especially because we do some really cool stuff and it all looks really pretty on Instagram. Okay, so I talked to you a bit about this. There are different ways to engage. Again, that's totally up to you. But most importantly, your alumni gift this year is going to be the UC San Diego Alumni Sun God pen. So please make sure you update your contact information in every place that you can, so that we can get you your gift. And when I say update your contact information for where you're going to be. I know that a lot of you move around, after graduation. And so we want to make sure that we get this to you. And we can't do that if we don't have your mailing address. And that is everything that I have. Just a reminder about your commencements, June 12th and 13th. That's coming up. And we have our keynote address that's given by Alicia Garza this year, who is, one of our outstanding Tritons. And that's all that I have as far as this presentation goes. And I want to address some of the questions that you've put in the chat. It looks like we've had a few answered already. Yes, this recording will be posted publicly on our website for alumni. And I can certainly send out an email to all of you who have attended with that link once we get it posted. And also, as far as alumni email for life, just stay tuned for that. You'll receive an email over the summer with the invitation to join. Just make sure that you follow all the steps. You'll have access to your current email account for a little bit, but the server that hosts your current email isn't the same thing as the alumni email for life. So if you have any emails that are particularly special to you or that you want to preserve, make sure you save those to your computer, so that we can, so we don't lose anything, right? So with that, I'm done with my portion of this Q&A. Let's see. Oh, actually a few more questions. Do you need to sign up for the Alumni Gift? No, you don't need to sign up for the Alumni Gift. As a graduating senior, you will be able to get the gift. And then, let's see, losing access to Handshake after a year. You will not lose access to Handshake after a year. It's just a little bit, the functionality of it's a little bit different, but everything that you do on Handshake, you can do through Tritons Connect. You can always reach out to staff. We have like a staff thing on our profile. So do feel free to reach out to us on there. For commencement, I don't have full answers as to how that's going to function as far as the walking for that. If you have any questions about commencement, you can send those to commencement@ucsd.edu and they'll be able to answer your questions. And what's the difference between our current UCSD email support forwarding and the Alumni Email for Life? So you'll be able to maintain your email address, right? So if you have port forwarding for that, that should be fine. But there are going to be special instructions that go out with that invitation email. So please do follow those to make sure that it's still the same process. All right. Okay. And now with that, I am going to turn the reins over to Sudarshan, who is, like you, a current graduating senior at UC San Diego from Revelle College. And he's going to be hosting our alumni panel for the evening. Thank you, Sudarshan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really quick, I'd just like to say that if you all have any questions during this that you would like to ask alumni, please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A feature. We'd really like to try to get to all of your questions, but we'll see with the time. But yeah, with that, let's introduce our panelists. So we've got three wonderful panelists today. We've got Madison, Marissa, and Margaret. So if you all would just please introduce yourselves with your name, the year you graduated, what you studied, and just tell us a little bit about your involvement with UCSD, both while you were a student and now as an alumni.
Thanks, Sudarshan. I'll go first. Hi, everyone. I am Madison Wells, class of 2015, communications major with double minors in psychology and sociology. So all the words, majors and minors, my friends like to say, my bio and Phi-Sci friends. I work now in the alumni office, actually. I'm the associate director for our events and strategy. So still heavily involved with UC San Diego, love being an alum, working on campus, and kind of started that trajectory even as a student. I worked in the Marshall Activities Committee group as a chair there, and then was a student manager with housing and dining, working with UC San Diego Catering.
Hi everyone, I'm Marissa, class of 2020. I graduated with a degree in economics and double minored in business and biology. Right now I'm working as a marketing and operations analyst at a healthcare startup in San Francisco. While at UCSD, I was a part of the Student Foundation and Student Alumni Associates. And just recently, a couple months ago, I joined the Gold Steering Committee with Kiana.
Hi everyone, my name is Margaret Rechnechon. I graduated in 2013 in Marshall College and I studied management science. When I was a student, I worked at the box office, which was a heck of a time. And now I'm the vice chair of the Asian Pacific Islander Alumni Council. And Tyler did mention about the Affinity Council. So definitely I'll drop a link in the chat to learn more about all of us. And then what else? That's really it. I guess just about the council, I just kind of joined 2 years ago and we're kind of young in the sense of we kind of just started getting our wheels going, but our group has folks from all years, from the 70s to just recent grads. So yeah, that's about me.
Awesome, thank you so much. So you all have graduated and you all live awesome lives outside of school now. So why do you all continue to engage with the university? What is it that you gain most out of the connections that UCSD Alumni Office gives you?
I think it's a really good question. I mean, Tyler spoke to it really well. And if there's literally nothing else that you take out of this, it's Tritons Connect. You have to take advantage of this network, right? Like, you made friends on campus, you got to know people working in all different areas. And that's like an initial starting point that breaks the ice for so many connections moving forward, not just for your career, but for, you know, especially if you're local to San Diego, like that might be your neighbor who's a fellow Triton, or the person that you see every time you go to your favorite restaurant. So it really just helps to solidify the network. So I just, if nothing else, I'm so big on making the meaningful connections and knowing that you always have those, right? Like, you don't have to frantically hope that that one person you sat next to in like OChem is going to be your best friend right now. But I think that there's a nice intentionality behind being alums of this institution where you can find someone 5, 10, 20 years from now and forge that relationship. So that's my number one, staying connected for myself and for helping others.
I love that, Madison. That's well put. I mean, for me too, it's just like that starting place, you know. When I meet another Triton, it's like, okay, we know where we come from. This is we have the same home, so we know UCSD. And then so now what? How can we work together, be together, or hang out? When I was telling my friends that I was doing this, I literally said, I think all of my current friends who I hold dearly now are mostly folks I didn't go to school with. It was just folks who did go to UCSD, but I didn't know them at the time. And so I think it's just a testimony on the real Triton family. When you leave school, you realize everyone goes to all these other different colleges. Like, you start repping UCSD really hard out there in the real world.
Yeah, totally agree. I think me just being recently graduated, it's easy to kind of get lost in that work life, and I find myself missing the UCSD community a lot. So staying involved with the Gold Steering Committee and just keeping in touch with people has been a really great way to stay connected with old friends and also meet a lot of cool people as well.
Yeah, I love all this advice. I really resonate with this whole concept of making connections and talking to different people. But this can get really, really tough for students, especially if you move out of the San Diego area. So a question for you all is, how do you make these connections last? And what tips can you give to help students that are trying to do the same thing?
That's a great question. I'm happy to go first with some of my initial thoughts. I mean, it kind of sounds gross when you talk about it as like leveraging your network, but it's like, honestly, think about who are your really good friends, and like, think about the diversity of friends and people that you've gotten to know, and not even just your friends, but your TAs or that professor that you thought was really cool. Like, how do you piggyback off of those really meaningful initial relationships and stay in touch? Like, do the work, right? It's not just about friendships. Like, what applies to your friendships that make those strong and work well, and how can those translate if it's a passion area that you're interested in, or if it's an area of study or work that you're trying to pursue, or if it's something that you've, again, never had any experience with but are interested in, and just on LinkedIn or Tritons Connect happen to see that there's 30 alumni who work there. I think there's a lot of validity in having those strong, meaningful relationships that you nurture, just like your friendships and your family, but knowing like, all right, I can make that kind of cold call outreach because it's a little warmer, like Margaret was saying, like, it's not as cold as you think. We're all coming from the same place.
Yeah, definitely. I think me being more introverted too, it can be quite intimidating to reach out to people, especially people you don't know or have never met or don't really have a super strong common interest with. But everyone I've ever reached out to from UCSD has been super nice, and everyone's always been happy to help. So definitely learned a lot from different people.
Definitely. And I would say too, it's okay to ask yourself, what do you need? Like, who do you need? Like, at what stage in life are you at, and who do you want to talk to about that? Like, for me, right after college, I wanted to talk to a lot of folks who are about to retire. Like, that was me personally. So I had to find those people, and most of them were alumni, because I could just be like that vulnerable student, like, you know, recent grad, and say, I don't know. And people love to talk. People love to hear from us. So definitely reach out.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. And I think this has already been slightly touched on in some of your answers already, but we just learned from Tyler and Kiana of some of the services available to UCSD alumni. So which one of these services has been the most valuable for you in helping make these connections and reaching out to people? What have you used?
So I'll give you like an insider tip. It's not that insider, but I didn't think of it like as a senior. And all of you who are on here already, props to you, because I went out into the world like, I got it, I'll figure it out. And I think I figured it out okay, but you guys are in a better place. But truly, like alumni at ucsd.edu, like alumni cares as a department about the work and the future of graduated seniors, now alums of UC San Diego. That's really important. Engagement, like being involved with the university as a volunteer or attending events or making gifts, like all of these different ways to stay connected actually means something for UC San Diego's reputation, for every university's reputation. So the alumni office has like a really vested interest in helping all of us, everybody on this call, make a connection anywhere. I have a friend who was in aerospace engineering, loved his professor, fell out of touch. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we can just connect you. Like we know people in engineering, like why not come back to campus and see what that professor is working on? So if all else fails, reach out from there or from your colleges and see who you can get back in touch with, because you can literally have access to some of the brightest minds working in health and industry from here on campus, and they want to make those connections easy.
I'll probably say two things. One practical is that we do get like insurance and stuff. There's like a bunch of companies like discounts as Tritons that you can take advantage of. So that's definitely one. But two, definitely the alumni services, you know, the fact that they have created clubs and councils and just avenues for us to meet others and to support that work. I mean, I'm a volunteer, but I definitely feel supported by the alumni office. Shout out to Janelle Dean. That really has definitely given us like tools and things to think about and how to structure ourselves as a council kind of and know exactly what's going on at UCSD at the current, because we can lose touch, right? Like we can be 10 years out and now a trolley's up, like what's going on. So I definitely would say the fact that whenever you're ready to meet new people, like there's a lot of different avenues. For me, actually, I started off with the San Diego Regional Club. And then I worked my way over to the API Alumni Council. So yeah, that's it.
I think for me, joining the steering committee has been really great to, yeah, just stay engaged and reconnect with the community.
Perfect, lovely. So this year, especially for a lot of our graduating seniors, we're going into this, we're going outside of college in a very uncertain time. So we're really going to have to be very fast in adapting and stuff to this new environment, this new routine. So if you all could give advice to your senior self, what would it be? And also, if you want to answer, what's the one thing you would tell graduating seniors this year? What's the one piece of advice you would give?
Happy to jump in first and then you ladies can take it over. But honestly, the biggest thing for me is like, take a beat. Like we work real hard to go to school here and to graduate from here, and it is a huge accomplishment. So take a second, take a deep breath and be really proud of where you have gotten, and then recharge and keep putting in the work, right? Like that's life, and that's certainly the world that we're in right now. But I would say bring that level of confidence and competence to anything that you do, with a dose of humility, right? Like we're young, we're starting out in our careers and learning, you know, everything that we're trying to accomplish. But I would say really having that tenacious spirit, it's going to take the work, and you've done the work to get in here, to graduate from here. And this is only part of everything that you'll accomplish. So don't forget that. Like bring that that energy, and just know what we're all working with as far as the job market right now. Like it's going to take that work, but you have that skill and that expertise and the ability, like Marissa and Margaret are talking about, to like diversify your experience. Like get on boards, get on councils, volunteer. Don't go crazy, but do something that matters to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I would also say it's important to keep learning as well. UCSD offers a lot of great resources like the Triton Table Talks, the Triton Connect, the Career Services Center. I definitely learned a lot and have continued to learn even after I graduated.
Advice from, okay, so I guess I got two. I always have two everything, right? Okay, so for sure get started on getting your professional clothes, number one, because I know I really struggled on, I was struggling to know what to wear, what to buy. And I'm a thrifter, so I had to go shopping. But it's that one interview that's tomorrow that you need to be sharp for. So just get that one interview outfit, be prepared for it, because you are going to be interviewing, right? Maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And then, like Madison said, like take your time. And I know we're recording, but healing from UCSD is a thing too. And it's okay to say, like, take the time away, but come back. And that, from here on out, your network's only going to grow, because you know who you know now, but you don't know us yet. We have other people you need to meet too. So just to say, like, just to have that in mind, take your time, definitely.
I really like what Margaret just said about practical, like true, tangible advice too, because it's like, and again, while we're all still in this like weird Zoom space, like think about what worked for you to attend classes. That probably varied. Like maybe you were able to just kind of hang out, like camera off, no big deal. Didn't matter if your internet was super stable or you called in. Like you need in the virtual space to treat it like you are still the best dressed version of yourself, walking in, copies of your resume and cover letter in hand. Like that still needs to be the energy that you bring to all of this through a virtual space. And I know that sounds exhausting because we've been doing that for a long time, but just don't sell yourselves short. Like you would be bringing that energy into any in-person interaction. So make sure that that's translating and you're supporting yourself as best as you can in the virtual space as well.
Yeah, I love that. Tagging on with how much work we put into school and getting into this routine of studying and then finals and midterms and essays, all of that. There's definitely a distinct transition between school life and work life. How do you balance this transition, and what have been your struggles that you've gone through, and how can you help other students that are going through that struggle right now?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, I can tell you that that's kind of where my like be humble comment came in. Like I came in with like a fervor to like work because I knew what I was doing and we're so used to this cycle, right? Like it's always crunch time. And I'm in an industry too where that's part of the reality, right? Like Marissa's in some marketing stuff and Margaret's on campus. Like that's the reality of so many industries. But I think taking that beat to know that there is a lot that all of us still have to learn at any point. But also, I mean, it honestly, depending on what your class load just was, starting out in the work world might be a nice little reprieve to be like, wow, like I worked real hard to get here. And now I can do this at a pace that is like sustainable for me. Like I will put in the work, I will get the job done, looking for future opportunities. But I think honestly, it is a crazy cycle in the quarter system and with virtual and everything that we've all gone through over the past year or more. But I would say just know that there is always room for you to learn. So come with confidence and ready to learn what others around you have to teach you.
I guess, we work so hard to find out who we are in college, I think, or even still now, like even though we're out, we're still trying to find who we are. And that journey continues in the workspace too. And so what that looks like for you and for maybe other examples, you will see, I think, in your future colleagues, and knowing what that might look like for you might be a journey within itself. So I would say, Just like when you're cramming for exams, you talk to your friends about certain concepts and, you know, getting help with certain questions. Talk to your friends about that interview question they may ask. What are your real pros and cons? Or before, you know, practice on them. That's that, you know, what did I learn in college? You know, I learned how to, you know, ask for help and like work together with folks for my success, right, for my grade. So same thing here, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think the work ethic and kind of curiosity I grew at UCSD has served me really well in the workforce. But like they said, there's always room for improvement, different people to learn from, and areas to grow in. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting time.
Yeah, I would definitely echo all of this. I really think there's something almost empowering about asking for help. I think it's something so simple, but really complex and something that's kind of hard to do in the real world. It's like you have to admit that you don't know something, but you're willing to learn and reach out to other people and really just absorb all of that information. And so I think that asking for help is one of the most powerful things you can do because you're showing that you care about yourself and you care about learning more and really engaging with the situation in a humbling manner.
Yeah, I think too, it's like college teaches us, like, we learn how to learn, right? Like you might not apply the like very literal theory. I remember learning about like David Bowie and culture and film. And am I glad that I know that? 100%. But it also taught me like, this is how I think about things and how I like approach like the lens with which I see the world. And I think it's so funny. I'm a Marshall girl and I know there's a few on here, but like doc and like intersectionality and hegemony, like these are the words that like really structure the way I learn and like go out into the world. And there's something to be said for that. Like you have learned some of the vocabulary and the way to open your mind and collaborate with people and learn. And so I hope that everybody feels empowered, like no matter what career path you take, if it's completely irrelevant to the degree that you gained, it honestly doesn't matter. Like you learn how to do that job.
I love that too. And I would say I do work at UC San Diego in the in the Department of Medicine, and none of my colleagues and my immediate colleagues used to go to UC. Like they were not alum. So I can tell already that, you know, what I've learned as a UCSD student, like how to think this non-traditional way that we, you know, these are just, you know, for right now it feels like words, but it is true. And how we like really work together and like are vulnerable with folks, even with our own how UCSD as an institution needs to change, you know, seeing that type of activism happening on the campus or, you know, virtually as well, really like, especially this year, seeing how we adapted to COVID, it's been really inspirational. And I know as alum, like, yeah, I could see how we've gotten this far, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was lovely. One more quick reminder to all the people here. Please, if you have any questions at all, you've got 3 alumni that have experienced it all, that are willing to answer like any of your questions. So now is like the time to ask a question. So again, any question at all, feel free to use the chat or the Q&A. We'd love to answer some of your questions. But in the meantime, just what is the one most valuable experience that you've gathered from your time at UCSD that you've used in the real world? Like what's that one thing that you've gone through either in classes or with professors or just with what you've worked on campus? What's that one valuable experience that you've gathered here?
I mean, I feel like I like spoiled it in my last answer, but truly it's honestly the entire way I see the world. Like I remember one of my professors being like, I'm so sorry, but this is it. Like you are going to have this like perspective that will change the way you think about everything. Like you're not just going to sit and enjoy some random movie the same way you did before or read a book the same way. And obviously they were joking, but truthfully, like UC San Diego shaped the entire way that I like interpret the world around me. And I credit that largely to Dimensions of Culture with Marshall. And I think that has honestly made me who I am, both as a person, a friend, you know, a partner and a colleague. So I'm really proud of that. And I wouldn't do it any differently. You know, like we've all got student loans. It costs some money to go to UC San Diego, just like any other institution, but I wouldn't change it because it was the entire framework for my education.
I'm not gonna lie, my most valuable experience could have been taken negatively, but it also taught me how to, UCSD has taught me to speak my truth because someone was truthful with me. I had a math professor at the time. I really wanted to study math, and I went to his office hours. I did all the things I was supposed to do, and he was like, I don't think math is your thing. And he told me that, and he was honest, and I appreciated that. And although I did sit back and was like, oh my God, what is life? It was that telling my truth experience that was most valuable to me. And so to this day, like I'm saying my truth and I'm telling my truth. So
Yeah, I think for me, it was probably joining the Student Foundation and Student Alumni Associates. It definitely really taught me the value of giving and community, supporting one another, and how that translates even in your alumni life. I got a little sneak peek of that. So it's been really great to see everyone who stayed connected with the university, everything they've done, they've gained from UCSD, but also how much they're able to give back, even just through their time or their advice. It really means a lot.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we'll wrap it up with just one more question. So we've got a real tough job market ahead of us for all of us graduating this year. So what's your advice for how to find your first job after graduation?
Do you want to go, Margaret?
I mean, mine was going to be maybe simple, but not simple. But I would say whatever industry you're in, you need to go and look. Like we're saying, we have our groups and clubs and stuff. There's groups and clubs and societies for whatever area you're in. If it's marketing, event planning, whatever it is, there's one for that. Find out the professional groups, sign up for the emails, look at your emails, look at your resume, always try to improve it every time you submit it. Don't be cookie cutter about it if you really want the job. So and then I saw also a question, how long did it take to get my first job? It took me 4 or 5 months, I'm not gonna lie. And it was rough because I was just having so much doubts, but it came and it's great. And now I'm here, so yes.
That's awesome. The number one thing I can say, and I've done a little bit of like the alumni or student career coaching as a non-career coach, but this is the most like authentic thing that was ever told to me, and I've applied it. Transferable skills. We all have skills that we have learned that are transferable to a specific description of any job. So don't sell yourselves short. Like just because your area of expertise may be in X, it doesn't mean that like the project management or the people management or any area that you oversaw in that role couldn't translate to another. So don't be afraid to really speak to any strengths that you have and apply them through that lens, because you may not have a lot of job history experience at this point going out for your first job post grad. So don't be afraid of that. Think of what has been relevant and apply it. And similar to that question, I was lucky enough working at UC San Diego Catering. I actually worked in our sales office immediately after graduation and was like fully hired on full-time within, I want to say like 3 months. So that started my trajectory with UC San Diego. So plug for that. If anyone's interested in UC San Diego, there are always jobs on the UCSD jobs board, and they're across all areas of industry.
Beautiful. All right. So thank you all for so much for sharing all of your lovely insight with us. You all had some very valuable experience, and we'd love to hear that. Yeah, with that, Tyler.
Congratulations to our seniors for this next step in your journey. I hope that you go forth into the world feeling a little bit more confident for having spent the evening with us. And always use us as a resource. That's really what the alumni office is. It's an office that's full of people that want to be a resource to you. So never hesitate to reach out. And we'll see you all on June 12th and 13th. And good luck on your finals. Thank you so much.